I'm waiting for the handcuff question. That's the one I'm waiting for. No idea what to expect.
Have I got you worried?
The exit is so far away.
You took a risk.
I did, yeah.
You didn't have much information.
No.
Are we going? Yeah. Okay. Abdalla, welcome to To Be Human.
Thank you.
You ready for the first question?
Let's go.
So you said...
Oh, shit.
That's a man not with conviction. I believe the average man is in prison. You reference particularly this enslavement is due to the war on the mind. If you can capture people's mind, you can enslave them. Talk to me what you meant about that.
So basically, I think everybody is raised in confinement. So we grow up believing that we should attain a certain status or attain a certain job, then get married, have kids, and then die. Just work our ass off the whole time. And that's basically slavery in my mind. Like, what's the difference between the modern man and slaves back then?
Well,
we
it's a
have
good
zero
question.
freedom.
What is it?
We have zero freedom. We are slaves to the slave master. We pay taxes like the slaves did. They even take our money before we're able to spend it. So what's the difference? I think freedom is something that everybody should try to attain, or else you'll end up enslaved. And first they enslave your mind, then they enslave your body. They take basic freedoms away from you. So it's a very sad reality.
And when did you realize, because I assume by virtue of this conditioning that we all experience that you have as well, when did you realize that your mind was being enslaved?
Late, not early enough.
Me too.
Because it's a full programming. So, for example, if I look at the people around me, when I grew up, the most that I could attain to. Oh, let me give you an example. I was speaking to my mother the other day, and I was just asking her a couple of questions about myself when I was younger, what she would have believed that I would have become. And I asked her, what did you think I would become? And then she said, oh, definitely a doctor or an engineer. And then I said, is that because that was the greatest thing you could envision for me?
Right.
And she said, yeah, that's probably it. That was what she was programmed to think is the pinnacle of success, right? And then similarly, it's just an example of how your environment programs you based on the environment that it's in. There's this study being done by, I think it was grasshoppers or something. So they put a lid and all the grasshoppers are hopping. So there's a ceiling, right? They remove the lid, they're still not hopping out, even though physiologically they can. They have the ability to jump out. And I think that's what's happening to us humans as well.
Why?
That's very deep. Why? So the real, that's going to be so, what's it called? Tinfoil. Are we going tinfoil? Are we going tinfoil?
Yeah. I've got it on.
So if we think about, let's say you and me and Dax, we decided that we are superior to everyone else. What would be our game plan? I would want to control.
Power.
Yeah, power, right? I would want to control, and I would see everyone else as a bunch of ants that are mine to play with. So that's what I think. I think we are, in an ant farm, basically.
So whilst we have our tinfoil hats on, if that is the way in which things are functioning, what's the end goal?
For us to escape, or do you mean what is the end goal
By
of that?
virtue of saying these people are in control, they have power over us ants. Why?
They can do whatever they want.
And what is it that they want?
I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. I've heard many theories, some very extreme. And I think as I begin to learn a lot more and open my perspective of curiosity, things that I think a few years ago I would have thought was absolutely ludicrous, I'm now beginning to entertain. I'm not certain enough in them to voice them.
Exactly. And that's why I said I don't know.
Yeah. But I feel a resonance in truth in the questioning of it all. And I think we're in a beautiful space at this point in time where I feel like culturally, politically, even religious-wise, we've experienced such extremities that I feel like the pendulum's beginning to swing back. And it's not only swimming back to where we were, but it's swinging back with a new awareness. Do you see that?
Yeah, definitely. Because I think that more and more people are actually waking up and understanding that, okay, the so-called freedom that we are being given is actually less freedom than we used to have in the past. So it's like they take, and then they give us a little bit back, like crumbs back.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, but you're free.
Yeah.
Freedom of what? Freedom of speech, freedom of choice, freedom of... But it's all bullshit.
So you advocate for this leaving the prison, stopping the enslavement. What is your biggest pushback for people that have been so conditioned?
I don't think they're willing to do the work or do what it needs to take, do what it takes to actually achieve freedom. Because it's so much easier to be enslaved. It's so much easier to have a slave master than to think for yourself. Most people don't want to think for themselves.
So we choose ease over freedom.
100%. Safety over freedom. Most people would choose safety over freedom.
And that's part of the conditioning.
That's it.
So what do you think it takes? Because in my experience up into my 30s now, I feel like we're really in this moment of revolution where people are beginning to think more for themselves and wanting to work more for themselves. What do you think is the fuel that's helping everyone to sort of move back into this space? Because my understanding is, through a lot of the things that I've seen about you, is your sense of brotherhood and your sense of community has been absolutely non-negotiable in this journey for you. Can you speak more to that?
So it's being around like-minded individuals that share your values or foundations of value. So in the past, I would think, okay, growing up, it's okay to experiment with other beliefs and diversity is beautiful, understanding. But at a certain point, you got to make your mind up and be like, okay, I'm going to just be around people that think the same as me. I've had enough of, conflicting thoughts and beliefs and thinking in hypotheticals. Yes, the world is not black and white. I think it's gray, but you need to choose your gray. You can't just be on a gray scale throughout your life. And yes, okay, you can change your mind on certain things and you can become more aware or less aware if you please, because sometimes you go backwards. You become less aware, and that's okay. You have periods in your life where you're like, okay, I've had enough awakening. Let me go back to sleep a little bit because this is a bit too...
It's a lot.
It's a lot, right? It's a lot to take in, and I've had it in my own journey where I'm like, okay, now I want to wake up, and then sometimes I want to just sleep and just relax a little bit.
Yeah, I feel when the tinfoil hat comes on, sometimes it's just like... it just goes a little too deep. And I think for me, I almost get a little nihilist in the whole experience.
Exactly.
And so I need to take a step back.
Yeah, because if all of this is going on, it's like, what can I do about it?
Right.
Really nothing.
Right.
So let me just jump on ship and just wait it out.
Yeah.
But what are we waiting for?
Yeah. Do you have people that challenge you in your life, in your perceptions?
Of course.
But you're very calculated with who they are?
Calculated with the people that challenge me? Yeah, I just like to be around people that think the same as me. And then, I mean, I'm in a fortunate enough position where I can choose my friends, right? Maybe growing up, you couldn't really choose your friends. But as soon as someone doesn't have the same values as me, thinks like me, why would I want to be around you? It doesn't make sense.
Well, to challenge you, I think.
I don't want to be challenged anymore.
Do you feel very set in your perspectives now, your life perspectives?
Pretty much.
So you grow through your own personal experience, not necessarily by the people around you.
Yeah, that's it. Now it's enough.
Yeah,
now it's enough. I have my set of beliefs, my set of values. I mean, and that's it. I don't want to think any different. I think it's also about which life view is gonna be of most service to you.
Yeah.
Like, what do I want out of life? Because reality is perception.
Right.
So I choose my own reality by deciding how I perceive it.
So when you say that, do you mean it's not necessarily about truth, but it's about what's going to serve you.
Exactly. It's about my truth. It's about everyone's truth, because at the end of the day, that's what matters.
What's your truth?
I want to be true to myself.
What is your truth?
Do you mean what I want? Or what is my truth?
What is your truth?
My truth is that I want everything life offers. That's my truth. Everything.
What's everything?
Everything. Everything you can possibly imagine.
Like the full spectrum of experience?
Everything.
Is this like emotional and feeling based, or is this
No,
material?
I don't care about my feelings. It's more about being able to... So, okay, my truth is I want to be true to God. I want to take care of my family. I want to make sure that the people around me are taken care of, because I see what's coming and I don't want them to suffer. That's my truth.
And how do you help your family, your loved ones, not suffer with what you see coming?
I think you have to be financially free.
Yeah.
So that you're able to have location freedom, financial freedom, and freedom of choice. So freedom is a very, very big component of what I try to achieve for myself and my family.
Have you found that to be the most profound experience of freedom in your life, is to have the resources like money?
I think money is a tool, yeah. And it enables you to do things that you wouldn't be able to without money. It's energy, so you need it. In order to move things, you need it. So I think it's not... Money isn't everything, but water isn't everything either.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't hold any truth. You need money to be able to move through the world. You need money to be able to do the things that you want to do. You need money to be able to take calculated risks. So there's so many use cases for it. So I think it's important to have resources.
I want to talk to you about deep work in relation to money. I want to quote you.
Okay.
I really feel like it was a moment for you. I was watching you on a podcast, and I really believe that when we fully open ourselves up to our own sense of truth and to God, whatever that may look like, you can channel sometimes. And so this really landed for me. You said, people don't do the deep work required to have enough trust in themselves. Some people can have insecurities and achieve a massive amount of wealth, but the wealth is not going to solve the insecurities. Money only solves money problems. Then you are left with everything that money cannot solve, which is the deep work. Beautiful.
Right. I surprise myself sometimes. Yeah,
yeah,
wow.
It was amazing. It was really amazing. What is the deep work that you're speaking about?
So the deep work is, so what I usually do is I sit alone 1 or 2 days in my apartment, in a room, and just think about, what do I actually want? Because sometimes I forget what I want. Sometimes you get carried away with life, and then you forget what actually means something to you. I moved to Dubai 3 years ago. I haven't spent enough time with my family. And then one day I wake up and realize, I miss them so much.
Yeah.
So that's the deep work. It's the deep work. Are you truly living the life that you want to live? Are you living true to yourself, or are you living true to other people's expectations of you? That is the deep work. What do I want for myself? Because it's going to benefit me. That's number one. You have to help yourself before you can help other people. So truly be invested in taking the time to write down. So if you ask anyone, what do you want? They're going to say, I don't know. Because they haven't taken the time to figure out what they want. Or they'll give you a shallow answer. What do you want in a partner? What do you want out of life? How do you want your day to look like? How do you want your week to look like? What do you want to do in 5 years? Most people can't answer those simple questions
because of the conditioning that we spoke to, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Because they're conditioned to think one thing or
powerlessness. They don't have a choice.
Exactly. As if they're stuck in some... They are actually, but yeah. They are stuck in some wheel of... Yeah, like a hamster wheel.
Yeah, I understand that. What do you think is the difference between people that are willing to do the deep work and not? Because in my experience, I feel like there is so much information out there these days. I feel like most of us have access to the perspectives that are required to really take domain over our lives. Yet most people do not. And we've spoken about the conditioning, but I feel like there's something else as well. What do you feel like you've seen working with men is the difference between the man that's really going to step up and not only seek money, but seek that sense of self-development that comes with that internal wealth as well, versus someone that chooses not to?
A willingness to withstand pain, because it's very, very painful. It's not fun to do the deep work. It's not enjoyable, because you're going to have to face all the insecurities, all the demons of your past. Oh, why did my mother do this? Why did my father leave my mom? Why have I never had friends for a prolonged period? Why am I always changing people? You're gonna look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, what is keeping me from achieving the things that I really want? And you're gonna find the answers. You know the answers.
Yeah.
Whether it's you're addicted to something, whether it's food, TV, drugs, it could be anything. And then you're gonna have to find a way and a plan to get rid of those vices. That's deep work.
Yeah. What led you to be able to do the deep work? What helped you in that journey?
I think finding brothers or brotherhood that are doing the same thing. So for example, if you have people around you that are on the same path. So let's say there's a path here. Everybody's on a path. It's not the same path, but we're towards the same. We want to achieve the same thing. So we want to achieve freedom. So walking with people so you're not alone, I think that helps you a lot.
Yeah.
Keeping you male accountability, I think, is one of the greatest things.
So what does that look like? Because you spoke about the pain, and by virtue of being human, I understand that. I do think there is a difference between how women and men sometimes process pain. What does that look like to you, being held sort of within that masculine space?
It's nothing you can share. It's like your own responsibility. You can't really talk about it that much. So it's something that you need to deal with yourself. It's between you and God. That's how it has always been for me. So
what does that look like for you, between you and God?
So I would never ask another human for something that I know is within God's hands, for example. It could be, for example, I've never cried except in prayer. That's another thing. So because who else is going to help me if I'm struggling with something, right?
Yeah.
So that's how it looks.
That's really beautiful. In prayer, is it a somewhat dialogue between you and God, and or is it more of a deep sense of surrender and trust?
Both. So it's a dialogue in the sense that I'm just asking for forgiveness because I'm a sinner like everyone else is. So that's the dialogue. It's like, okay, I'm sorry. Please take me back. That's basically the conversation that is. And then knowing that he's merciful, then it's a deep sense of surrender. So it's both.
Beautiful. I was listening again to a podcast that you were on, and it was about a year ago, and you spoke about, in relation to this deep work, that when you focus on yourself, you have a tendency to pull away from your family. Where are you at with that now, a year later?
It's still difficult. I'm at that in 5 days, I'm going to fly to see my family.
Beautiful.
So that's where I'm at. It takes some time. And I recall it and I understand it because I remember last year we were on a family vacation, and then I overheard my younger nieces be like, why does Abdalla not love us?
Wow.
He doesn't spend time with us because I'm always on my phone, I'm always working, I'm always doing things. And then it comes back to the fact that I'm okay. I think, a man is someone who protects and provides, and I think it's okay for the family to enjoy and take time off. But how can I take time off when I know what's coming?
So that's your sense of love.
That's how I show love, yeah.
Do
I
you
want to be able to take
communicate
it. Sometimes. I don't think it's necessary because I don't think it's not everyone else's responsibility to understand what I need to do for us. It's okay to be misunderstood.
Even when it comes to the absence of experiencing a loved one's interpretation of what love is.
I can't really communicate with them. I can't sit them down and say, okay, it's because the world is fucked up and I need to make a lot of money so I can take care of you in the future. They're going to be like, can we go get ice cream? So it's not really going to work. It's something I can I can explain it to my mother quite logically. This is the reason and then she's going to be like, oh, but none of us really care about the money. We just want to spend time with you. Okay, but spending time requires money.
Yeah.
It's not free.
But I guess you acknowledge it because you do go back. Is this back to Copenhagen to see
Yes.
your family?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I acknowledge it. But it takes a lot of energy for me to go back.
Does it? Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I don't know how you feel about your hometown, but I'm not a big fan.
Well, I'm back in Australia. It always takes forever to get back to that place.
Right? Oh, okay. Yeah. For me, it's a little bit easier, but it's always going back. I never felt like I belonged. So going back is a little bit...
I feel like you're speaking to me there. I feel like I'm definitely having a moment. Actually, I've probably been having a moment for the last 6 months. I was traveling for just over a year and felt like I really wanted to ground in somewhere. And I had this really interesting moment when I was in Nepal and I was like, where's home? Where is home? Like Australia is kind of home, but like kind of. Yeah. And it was a really interesting moment. How do you feel around that? Do you feel like Dubai is home for you?
I feel like I'm based in Dubai. I don't know if it's home yet. Like if anybody asks me, then I'm based in Dubai. But I don't feel like Denmark is home. I don't feel like Egypt is home. Do I have to pick somewhere? I don't think so.
Do you feel pulled towards it?
Pulled towards Dubai or pulled towards picking?
This sense of home, yeah.
No, it's not necessary for me. It doesn't really, it's not going to
You've got
change
things
anything.
to do here.
Yeah, I have things to do. I can't be worried about where is home.
Yeah.
Home is where I choose to be. Let's say it like that.
I want to talk to you about being unsatiated because what I've heard from you speaking about being ambitious, having goals, meeting those goals, having new goals, to my understanding, you get quite a deep sense of fulfillment, and it's almost ironic, I feel, that you are almost satiated in the unsatiation of this experience. Yeah.
Yep.
Talk to me about this because I feel like we really go through these ebbs and flows with business where it's like, you know, there'll never be enough and go get it. And then we go through these like other periods where people kind of, the pendulum swings the other way and it's like work smarter, not harder. But I've heard you say, and it may have changed since I heard you say this, but you said for you it's about working smarter and working harder. Yeah, talk to me about that.
I do believe that that's what's brought me to this point. I've always outworked everyone and I've always been much more efficient than everyone. That's how you get ahead. So you have to know how to work hard. So that's step number one. How, can you put in the hours?
Yeah.
Are you going to continue watching that computer screen when your eyes are like feeling like they're melting basically? Because that's what it felt like for me in management consulting, right? Working 14-hour days, 16-hour days, working in the back of a car, working on the plane, working, you know, between meetings. That's step number one. So do a lot of work and then you become more efficient. So suddenly you're not working. So the average person is probably doing 40 hours a week. Effectively, they're doing probably 10 hours of effective work because they go eat their croissant, drink their coffee, take their cigarette, right? So it's like 10 hours. So imagine instead of putting 10 hours a week, you're putting 80 hours a week. Plus you're more effective. So that's like 160. So you're 16 times more effective than the average person. And that's what it really takes to get ahead of everyone.
Most people, as you're speaking to, work the 40-hour weeks and then, you know, after a day's hard work, they get home, they have their crutches, whether that's television, video games, food, insert. Do you have a crutch? Do you have something that crutch may not be the right word for you, but do you have something that you seek relief in from these larger work weeks?
So I was quite fortunate. We couldn't afford like PlayStation and stuff, so I didn't have that. I didn't have that opportunity.
You never developed that addiction.
I never developed a gaming addiction because we couldn't really afford it. So it's like, thank you.
For being poor sometimes.
Thank you for growing up without it. Do I have a crutch? Yeah, obviously. I always feel like I should be doing more. No matter how much I'm doing, there's always something where I think sleep is my crutch.
Sleep, yeah.
I need sleep.
Rest. Yeah.
I need sleep. I need to rest. I find myself taking naps these days in between things. Yeah. I just woke up from a nap before coming here. Yeah, I did. I woke up from a nap and then, I woke up from a nap and then I was like, I have 15 minutes to go to the gym. I went to the gym and then I came straight here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So fulfillment, it tends to be the focus point for you over happiness, I feel. And I wrote here that you said fulfillment to you is the opportunity to conquer. What does that mean? What does that look like for you?
So, for example, let's say I had a certain goal 3 years ago. Achieving that goal, most people would be like, okay, now it's time to relax. But I think for me, the opportunity to continue conquering new goals, getting new achievements, going even further. Let's say I buy one company. No, I want 2 companies. I want 3 companies. I want 4 companies. So it's about continuing the conquering, the war against oneself, conquering yourself and then conquering the world.
Do you ever want to stop?
No.
Wow.
No.
Not on an off day? Never.
On an off day, like having a day off, or on an off day as an
Mentally,
idiom?
yeah.
Okay. Not stop. Maybe rest a little bit.
Yeah. Do you listen to that?
No.
Why?
I'm not where I want to be.
Where do you want to be?
I want everything. I told you.
What does that mean?
It's everything. I want to have, the body of an athlete, the mind of a businessman. I want to have, companies that are doing nine figures in revenue every year. I want to have a community that is blossoming, that is buying businesses. I want to have brotherhood. I want to take care of my family. I want to have a beautiful family of my own, kids. I want to, build schools somewhere. There's so much to do. I don't have time to rest.
Beautiful.
There's just so much.
So what is, out of all those beautiful things, what is the main driver for you?
Taking care of my family.
Yeah. Can you speak more to that? Because I feel like that really important value has been lost in our society, particularly around men. I feel like to say that we want men to be protectors and providers is now a controversial thing to say. Can you speak more to the importance of having a man in a family that is driven through the pain to be able to take care of his family?
Who else is going to do it?
The government.
The government doesn't want the best for us.
But do people know that?
I don't think they do.
Yeah.
I think most people are under the impression and illusion that the government is there to protect them.
Yes.
But if you look deep enough, it's exactly the opposite.
Yeah.
They're just there to exploit you.
Yeah. Yes.
And that's the sad reality.
Yeah, it is. Is that why education is important to you? Like, do you feel a sense of responsibility in the things that you speak to right now? You're obviously focusing on a lot of personal goals. Where does your sense of contribution come in relation to what I feel is your sharing? I mean, you're on a podcast, you're speaking about your life, the things you value, the lessons you've learned, what's important to you and why. How does this sort of all come into Abdalla's day-to-day?
It's a good question. Like, am I just being am I ego driven? Is it just to put my face out there? Maybe. No, let's be completely honest. Why do people, I couldn't care less about other people. I couldn't care less.
Do you mean that?
No, I'm serious.
Why?
I couldn't care. I care about my family. I couldn't care less about some random guy on the street. I'll tell you once, this is what you need to do to become better. If you don't listen, it's not my problem. I can't save everyone.
Yeah.
So am I just doing it for myself? Maybe. Am I doing it so that my immediate family wake up? Maybe. But in reality, it's probably building your personal brand and doing all of this. Personal brand. It's about you. It's not about everyone else. You don't actually care about other people. Let's be honest. It's not a charity. This is not charity work.
So you feel like the byproduct of honoring what your ego wants is and can be a sense of contribution.
Probably, yeah. Because at the end of the day, there's male accountability, but there's also competition.
Yeah.
We can't all be hyper successful. Like, there is abundance and you need a team to win, but there's also going to be losers.
Yeah.
So it's a personal decision of each and every person to decide, who do I want to be? I'm not going to be able to force someone to be better. I'm not going to be able to force someone to do the deep work. I'm not accountable for their ability to do it. Nothing. I'm just telling you what I'm doing, sharing what I'm doing, how I think. If you believe the same, and it is putting you in a better position than you were yesterday, then yes, listen to it. If not, do not listen to me. Do not do as I say. Don't listen to anyone that doesn't have the life that you want. If you look at me and you think, okay, he has a life that I think that I want, okay, try to do the things that I do, and then you will see whether it's yes or no. It's just trial and error.
How does this fall into the balance of, because I've heard you speak to, it's not good to be a lone wolf.
No, it's not.
But it's obviously on the other side, not good to also need your hand held throughout everything. Where's the balance?
The balance is you have to develop a certain foundation in yourself that you're able to drive yourself. That's your own mindset, that inner dialogue. Sometimes I think I'm schizophrenic because of the voices in my head. So I have conversations with myself.
Relatable.
It's like, I don't want to go to the gym today. Are you a bitch? No, you're not. Then get up. Who's going to take you to the gym if not yourself? Who's going to drive you to yourself? So it's about building. So you're never really a lone wolf as a man because you have these voices in your head, or you should have these voices in your head that are telling you what you should be doing and not be doing. And you can choose to listen to the bitch voice that is telling you to relax, play video games. It's okay to take a day off. It's okay to sleep in the weekends. It's okay to do all of these things. Or you can quiet down that voice and develop a voice that's telling you to wake up, go to the gym, do the right thing, take care of your family. And that's basically the difference. Once you have that foundation, then you find other people that are doing the same thing. That's the brotherhood and masculine accountability. Because they're going to look you in your eyes and say, hey, you're not the person that you say you are. So you better check yourself, or else I'm not going to spend time with you.
Yeah.
And that's the way it works.
Is that how you work? Like if you have friends that begin to change their way of life, you'll drop them?
100%.
Have you done that?
Straight up. Yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. If you don't live up to the values that I have, I don't have time for you.
So do you find anyone around you who's really been like possibly around your level, on your level, and then has just gone a different direction?
It's happened.
Yeah. What do you think happens in that moment?
Nothing. Life goes on.
Why do you think they do that though?
As I said, so sometimes you have moments where you're awake, and then you have moments when you want to sleep in a little bit. So that's why it's very difficult to, if you're a car that is moving at 100 kilometers per hour, let's say we're a convoy of supercars, each and every one in their car, and we're all saying, okay, we need to go from Abu Dhabi to Dubai. If someone else has to do the pit stops and all of that, they're gonna fall behind, and that's how it works.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's it's very, very simple. But if you want to fall off, if you want to change direction, it's happened a lot. It's a personal choice. And I don't judge anyone. I don't judge people who want to take some time off to them. I do it all the time. Sometimes I cut everyone out, and I'm like, now I'm just focused on myself. Don't bother me. Don't message me. I'm not going to answer you. I'm not going for dinners. I'm not doing anything. Now it's time for me to focus on myself. And then I come back. I pop back up. If you're there, you're there. If you're not there, it doesn't matter. I'll find someone else.
Yeah.
It's all a value exchange. I'm not here to hold your hand. There needs to be a value exchange. Okay, I have something you want. You have something I want. How do we barter our way to this agreement? That's how it works for me.
What do you think is missing in leadership?
Are we talking about personal leadership or like leadership in business, or what do you mean?
Culturally.
Accountability. I think most people are not accountable. And leadership for me is service. So you need to want to be of service of other people. It's not about power.
So how does that relate into relation to what we were speaking about, how you possibly aren't driven by a sense of contribution, but maybe it's first and foremost the ego? Okay,
so let's say I work with some charities, and sometimes we go out to serve other people. That's also ego driven. I'm doing it for myself. I'm doing it to feel better. So I'm still serving other people,
And
but
you can still lead.
and you can still lead, but you're still doing it for yourself. It's the most selfish thing I do is, oh, now I feel so much better about myself because I'm helping other people. I'm building some school in a rural place. Now I feel so much better about myself. But it's also a sense of gratitude, so it's all intertwined.
Right.
That's the beautiful thing about it.
Culmination of
you
it.
can win in every aspect of life if you do the right thing.
Yeah.
You can feel good about yourself, you can give back, you can feel gratitude, you can get, the blessings of the universe because you're giving back. So it's all intertwined. And that's beautiful.
I've heard you speak to the necessity of not helping others when, first and foremost, we need to look after ourselves. What do you recommend as the primary things that we should focus on in order to look after ourselves?
Health, relationships, and then wealth. And spirituality, I think, is the fourth thing. I think health is number one. Nobody's going to take you seriously if you aren't healthy, and you're going to die. So you better take care of your health. Relationships to men and women, understanding how do you communicate, how do you interact with both men and women, how do you assert your respect, and how do you get respect from the opposite sex. That's number two. Then I would say wealth as well, because you need resources to be able to take care of the people that you love. And then spirituality. At some point you need to figure out, what do I believe in?
Yeah.
Do I believe in whatever it is, a higher power, God, the universe,
Right.
whatever it is, because that's going to ground you.
How do you assert your respect to a woman?
How do I assert my respect towards a woman?
Yeah, you said in relationships, it's about like being able to assert that respect and then get that respect back. How do you show respect to a woman in a relationship?
Good question. So the way that I do it is that respect is earned. So nobody's going to respect me without me having earned it. So that may be in the courtship phase, whatever that may look like. So it really depends on the situation. There isn't one specific answer.
I'll let you get that one off.
Thank you.
Moving on. Moving on. I want to talk to you about your faith. This is actually a bit of a personal one for me. I've lived in Tunisia, I lived in Turkey, obviously now I'm living in the UAE. I've lived in several Muslim countries, and by virtue of that I've met many people, and some have become good friends, including men who are Muslim. I've seen, particularly for the youngins, this incredibly tumultuous internal conflict with being a young man of faith and also having these distractions of alcohol, drugs, promiscuity, all of that. Did you ever have a time in your life where you had that internal conflict? And if you did, what helped you to be able to align more with your sense of faith?
So growing up in Denmark, obviously, there was always this internal debate because you had, your faith from home and what your parents preached, and then you had everything else that was going on in society and was acceptable by society. So every time I walked out the door, there was like, okay, I'm being tested now. Are my beliefs true? Do I have faith in what I should have faith in? So it's always been difficult for me. And maybe that's why I never felt home in Denmark, because the society wasn't built around it. And I think when it comes to faith, the society needs to be built around the same faith, or else you're always going to have that conflict. It's always going to be a battle. It's always going to be, do we drink wine for dinner or not?
Right.
If that is a constant question, every time you go out for dinner, one time you're going to fall into it, right? Is it acceptable to have a girlfriend? Yes or no? If the question is always, is it not? Most people break. Most people choose something that they wouldn't, and then they feel bad about it because there's a dissonance between, what they innately know is right or wrong versus their own choice. So yes, definitely.
What guides your decision making now in relation to that?
What would please God? But it hasn't always been like that.
Yeah. What's been behind that shift?
I think understanding that whatever I've achieved in life is because of, God's blessing. Realizing I'm not superhuman, even though I'd love to believe it. I'm not better than other people, even though I love to say that I am, because it helps me get to where I am. I just think that I'm blessed by God.
Beautiful.
And He's helping me every step of the way. So I think that's the reason. And when you forget that, when you move away from that, your life has zero. Your life has zero meaning. Like, what's the meaning of life after that?
Yeah.
If you're not continually being blessed by God. Imagine God takes away His blessings. Then what? What are you left with?
Tinfoil hats.
That's it.
Yeah, that's deep. Do you only surround yourself with people of faith?
No, actually not. But most of the people around me are people of faith, yes.
Is that intentional?
I think it ends up being because we just like doing the same things. It's more like, what are the common activities? And then the common activities tend to be something that we all can do together. So yeah, probably.
Do you feel like you're in control of all facets of your life?
Yes.
How do you stay so committed?
To all facets of my life?
Yeah.
I don't give myself a choice to not.
You don't even entertain it?
No, not in my mind. In the past, maybe I used to. I used to entertain that, it's okay to take a day off. But now I don't.
Yeah, it's interesting. I feel like it does really make it easier, doesn't it? Removing that sense of grey.
Yeah. It's not an option.
Yeah.
It's not an option.
Yeah.
Because then you say to yourself, today I could take a day off. No, but it's not an option.
And as we spoke to, our mind wants to rationalize ourselves into the ease.
Exactly.
So it's always going to be, most of the time, detriment to actually the hard things that we need to do.
Exactly. So you just gotta embrace the pain. Start loving it. Start enjoying it.
Yeah. What are you looking to improve on?
Everything.
Everything?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's always levels to it. You can always do better. I'm not where I want to be.
Everything.
Exactly, in everything. I can improve in everything, every aspect of my life.
Yeah.
I can be more charismatic. I can make more money. I can take care of myself even better. I can eat more clean. I can, spend more time with my family. There's so many things to optimize on that I'm not nearly where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah. And when you say everything, is that actually a point unto which you think you can get to? Or is that the journey of life?
It's the journey of life.
Decided on?
It's the journey of life.
Yeah.
I'd rather sit as an 80... How old am I going to be when I die? Hopefully, I'll live very, very long. But I'd rather sit, without energy at whatever age that's going to be, 120 years, and be like, okay, I didn't achieve everything I wanted, but I never once, have regrets of not doing what I was supposed to do.
Yeah. What are your core non-negotiables for getting shit done?
Core non-negotiables for getting shit done. I need to see if I understand that question. Say that.
What drives you to do things? Like, Abdalla wakes up. He's got things to do. What is the essence behind everything that you do? I ask this question because I think these things, particularly for men, it can be really helpful to have like simple things to focus on, but that are like very dense in their energy, like very powerful, that it's just like, all right, these are the 3 things that I'm going to pull on today to be able to get the things done that are hard and possibly I don't feel like doing.
My non-negotiables are I need to listen to myself. I have like mantras that I listen to about what I want to achieve, my prayer, visualization, some manifestation, and then I just get to work.
Yeah. So for any men or young boys that are listening to this podcast that are really on the line, I feel like where I can appreciate, particularly being a female, is I really do feel like there are so many lost young men at the moment, and I really feel like they're opening up to wanting something more. But a lot of them lack that sense of mentorship and leadership that's necessary to be able to help them. but they're here and their eyes and they're still attentive and they're still engaging, and they may not be making the decisions that are aligned with their goals at this point in time, but they're still here. What do you speak to the boys that are on the line, that are listening to another podcast, possibly from you, hearing similar things that you've said before, but they're not actually actioning them? What would you say to them if they want something more in life and they want that deeper sense of freedom?
Get in shape first. Yeah. Get in shape. Learn how to do sales, communicate, work on yourself, and then take it from there. Then make a bunch of money.
Yeah. Find some good boys as well. Good
Find
brothers.
some people, some good people around you.
I think that's one of the most important ones I've certainly noticed.
Of course.
The people.
Of course.
Yeah. I don't think people understand how draining of your energy it is to be around people that aren't aligned with what you want in life. You're
going to lose yourself.
I moved recently because I was living with someone that didn't quite have aligned values with me, because I recognized how much my energy was trying to keep everything sort of like up where I wanted it, versus now I'm with people where it's like we're just going up and up. The
vibrations,
the vibration is high because the
level.
baseline is.
That's so important. But it takes so long to recognize, because I think most people are not on that vibrational frequency. So imagine you don't know about vibrations, you don't know about energy. You're a young boy that's roaming around. You just think that it's normal to be surrounded by this dark aura. Until you really find it, until you really research it and understand it, you won't really know what's going on.
So when you say research it, what are you referring to as it?
How the world works, I think, is the most important thing.
Through energy?
Through energy, yeah.
Through everything
I think it's so
energy.
important. Yeah, I think it's so important. Really understanding, okay, your feelings don't matter, but you need to understand your emotions. Because there's a lot of contradictions in this.
Well, that is the natural laws, right?
Exactly. There's so many contradictions.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you need to understand your emotions and you need to be able to control them and understand that your feelings don't matter because there's work to be done. It's like, okay, how do I do that? So difficult.
Yeah.
But that's what it takes.
Yeah.
That's what it takes. Control your emotions, know that your feelings don't matter, and then just do the work that's necessary.
And you're so certain and so clear on your vision, what you want, who you are. How did you land there? Because it seems like a simple question, but I find so many people, when you say, okay, connect with your values, find a goal, people are like, well, how do I connect with my values? How do I know what I want? What helped you to really connect with that?
A lot of different people and a lot of different books and podcasts and trial and tribulation and figuring out, okay, how do I find my purpose? What is purpose? What do I want to achieve? Really, I can achieve everything? Because nobody told me that I could achieve everything I ever wanted in life. If I knew that, it would be a blank sheet of paper, because we maybe as kids, we come to the world and then everything is, so new and achievable. And by time, by education, by the school system, we get limited down into this small little box, and then we lose all that, creative energy or exploration or whatever it may be. We lose that. So after that, it's your responsibility as a person to gain all of that back. And that takes such a long time. So I think if I look at it, I think it comes down to your environment, so your parenting. How much love did you get from your mother versus how much, discipline did you get from your father? I think those two things combined, I think, create the perfect synergy.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, I love that. I've heard you speak to, let me get it up here. You've said people don't ask enough the following: who am I? What do I stand for? So I'm going to pose it to you. Who is Abdalla and what do you stand for?
It constantly changes.
Does it?
Yeah, it's always changing. It's ever changing.
I feel like that.
I think there's seasons in my life where I am something and then I decide to be something else. This is also something that I was speaking to my mother about. she recognized from a young age that, like, from 1 to 2 years old, I was a certain personality. From 3 to 4, I was a certain personality. 5 to 6, then I decided to be, to close myself in and just study. And then after that, I wasn't studying at all. And then I wanted to do this, I wanted to do that. So I think it's a constant, I'm still deciding who I am.
Do you feel like you've ever known?
That's a good question. Not with certainty. Not with certainty.
What was close?
If it was?
What was close?
When was it close?
What was?
What was close? I don't know. I still don't know. I'm not sure.
Do you think it's possible to know?
No, because it's a decision. It's like you can decide who you want to be.
Well, I feel like the question is, like, how do we know who we are if we can just change it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there's no certainty.
Yeah.
If it's changeable, if it's a decision you can make, if one day you can be one person, then you can be another person. You can decide to change whenever you want. Because we are not trees, we're not fixated. If we wanted to change something, like, for example, you grew up in Australia. Is that who you are? An Australian girl in Australia? But then you lived in then what are you then? Okay, an Australian girl in Tunisia. Then what are you when you're moving? An Australian girl somewhere else.
Right.
So how do we define it? I think it's very, very challenging to define. So but I don't think it's necessary.
Well, I think you said it was necessary. That's why I was asking.
I think it's necessary to decide for your next chapter.
Who am I going to become?
Who do I want to become?
So it's more of a superficial level to be able to serve your goals.
Exactly. That's what I would look at it. Who do I want to become? Okay. Do I want to be the best at a certain thing?
Yeah.
Then I would take that identity. And then once you become that, then you need to find something else. That's why life is a continuous journey.
So on a bit more of a spiritual level, it would be this path of self-evolution.
Exactly.
And a bit more of a superficial level, what would it be for you?
Like currently?
Who are you right now? Yeah.
Right now, I am a lot what I do. So it's more about me conquering the area of business. So for me, I'm a investor, I would say. That's how I identify myself right now. I'm an investor. I take care of my family. And I'm guided and blessed by God. So those are the 3 things that I think about. Yeah.
And what do you stand for in relation to that?
I'll always stay true to my values. I'll always take care of the people that I love. And I'll always do right by, my colleagues and the people in my community.
It's beautiful. Thank you for this conversation.
Thank you.
I've got one more question.
Handcuffs.
So many questions. What does it mean to you to be human?
What does it mean to be human? To live and learn.
Thank you.
To live and learn, yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Take the handcuffs off now.
Thank God. That was fun. Tough questions, what?